Have you ever felt like your paycheck disappears before the end of the month? Like prices are racing ahead faster than you can keep up? If so, you're not alone. Today, more than 60% of Australians say they're cutting back on food, leisure, and even healthcare just to stay afloat in a country that feels more expensive by the day. And the question that keeps lingering is, will things get better? Or are we entering a new normal of financial squeeze? For the past decade, life in Australia meant balance for many. Decent wages, good quality of life, time with family, a peaceful Saturday run to Bunnings, and a lazy brunch in Bondi on Sunday. But since 2022, something has shifted, and it hit hard. The prices of basic items like fuel, rent, fresh produce, and even the iconic flat white have skyrocketed. You glance at a cafe menu and see toast priced at $16, and suddenly, it feels like everything is out of control. It's like trying to surf a wave that just keeps growing. You paddle, shift your weight, try to stay balanced, but the water keeps rising, the wind changes, and the board beneath you starts to wobble. The ocean's turned wild, and the name of this relentless current is inflation. And if you're struggling to paddle through it alone, imagine the millions of Australian families who face this storm every single day without a life vest. Let's look at the numbers. In January 2023, inflation in Australia hovered around 7.8% per year, the highest rate in more than 3 decades. And despite the Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, hiking interest rates multiple times, the drop has been slow. By April 2025, the headline figures have fallen, but the financial temperature still burns. Prices soared, but wages didn't keep up. The result? A cost of living that's unsustainable for most Australians. Here's a real-world example. The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Sydney has shot past $720 per week. Meanwhile, petrol prices in Brisbane's suburbs are bouncing between $2.15 and $2.35 per litre. No wonder so many people are parking their cars and turning to public transport, or even cycling, to save money. This crisis has become the talk of backyard barbecues. In the queue at Woolies, the mood is quietly resigned. At breakfast tables with co-workers, smiles turn awkward when someone mutters, "I think I'm canceling Netflix this month." Tiny budget cuts here and there have become a way of life. But is this sustainable? Is cutting everything really the answer? Or is there a smarter, more strategic way to deal with this economic reality? That's exactly why in this video, we're going beyond just complaining about prices. We're going to unpack why inflation is high, how it directly impacts your pocket, and most importantly, what you can do now to protect your income, maintain your lifestyle, and even discover new ways to grow financially, even when everything around you feels tight. Get ready for a deep, honest, and transformational journey. Australia is changing, and if you don't change with it, you risk being left behind. But if you stick with us to the end of this video, you won't just walk away with hope. You'll walk away with a practical plan to face inflation head-on. Because here's the truth. The cost of living might be rising, but your financial intelligence can rise even faster. And that's what we're going to build, together, step by step, like trekking through a trail in the middle of the outback. Every decision matters. Every choice is a step. And the first one begins now. It's easy to read the news, see the inflation rate at 6 or 7%, and feel like it's just another number. But behind every percentage point is a life changed. A parent saying no to their child's birthday party because the rent went up again, a retiree checking their super balance for the 5th time this week, or a student sharing a bedroom in a house with 6 strangers just to afford tuition and groceries. To understand how deep this issue goes, let's walk in the shoes of Emma, a 28-year-old barista living in Bondi. Emma's been working at the same cafe for 3 years. She's good at what she does, has regulars who love her almond flat whites, and she's always been responsible with money. But in the past 18 months, Emma's world flipped upside down. Rent on her 1-bedroom apartment jumped from $520 to $650 a week. Her electricity bill doubled. Even oat milk, once just an add-on for trendy customers, now feels like a luxury she has to ration. And while the prices climbed, her wage stayed flat. She's not lazy, she's not reckless, she's just falling behind. Like millions of Australians right now. Emma isn't alone. In fact, she's the new norm. Across the country, more than 40% of Australians are now using their savings just to keep up with daily expenses. That's not investing, not going on holiday, not upgrading their lives, just surviving. And according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, household debt has reached nearly 190% of income, one of the highest ratios in the developed world. So how did we get here? Let's break it down. Between 2020 and 2022, governments around the globe pumped billions into economies to survive the pandemic. That helped, temporarily, but with supply chains breaking, worker shortages, and rising energy costs, prices started climbing. Fast. By mid-2023, inflation hit 7.8%, the highest since the 1990s. The Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, responded aggressively, hiking interest rates to 4.35%, the highest in over a decade. The goal was simple: reduce demand, cool the economy, control inflation. But here's the problem. That strategy works better on paper than in practice. In real life, it's not just businesses slowing down, it's families. It's people like Emma having to cancel dental checkups or skip dinners with friends. It's people delaying having children, giving up on owning a home, or moving back in with their parents just to stay afloat. The result? Australia now faces a cost of living crisis with no clear end in sight. Groceries at Woolies or Coles are up by 9.2% year-on-year. Fuel remains volatile, bouncing around $2.20 per liter. And rent? In some cities, it's risen by more than 25% in 2 years. The property market, while cooling slightly, remains out of reach for first-home buyers unless you're lucky enough to get help from the bank of mom and dad. But this isn't just an urban problem. Out in the regional towns, places like Toowoomba, Tamworth, or Geraldton, families are also struggling. Their wages tend to be lower, public transport options are minimal, and rising petrol costs hit even harder when the nearest supermarket is 15 kilometers away. Let's talk about another example. Nguyen, a 35-year-old electrician living in the outer suburbs of Melbourne. Nguyen earns a decent income, around $95,000 a year. But after paying a $3,200 monthly mortgage, childcare for 2 kids, and weekly groceries that now top $400, there's little left for savings or leisure. His story highlights a painful truth. Earning more doesn't always mean financial freedom anymore. In this economy, even middle-class Australians are barely keeping their heads above water. Meanwhile, credit card debt is soaring. Buy now, pay later services like Afterpay and Zip have become lifelines for some, traps for others. And financial anxiety? It's everywhere. A recent study by CommBank revealed that 65% of Australians feel financially stressed, with 1 in 5 admitting they've lost sleep over money in the past month. But perhaps the most dangerous part of all, this is normalization. We're beginning to accept it, to shrug and say, that's just how it is now. And that mindset is precisely what stops people from fighting back, from making better decisions, seeking knowledge, or challenging the system. Let's pause, hear, and reflect. When was the last time you felt truly in control of your finances? Not just paying bills on time, but actually moving forward, saving, investing, planning for the future with confidence. If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're not alone, and you're not broken. You're operating in a system designed to keep you reactive, not proactive. But what if I told you that there are strategies, real, practical, accessible strategies that can flip the script? Let's be honest, talking about inflation can feel overwhelming. It's easy to tune out, blame the government, and go back to scrolling through TikTok or comparing house prices we can't afford. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. There are ways to take back control, even in the middle of a crisis. What you're about to learn are 3 proven strategies that thousands of Australians are using right now to not just survive, but adapt, grow, and even thrive. They're not quick fixes or get-rich schemes. They're long-term, behavior-based decisions. And the best part? Anyone can start, even with just $100, a spreadsheet, or a few minutes of focus. Strategy 1. Rewire your financial psychology, aka, don't fight inflation with math, fight it with mindset. Let's go back to Emma, our barista in Bondi. She didn't start by investing or side hustling. She started by doing something more powerful. She rewired how she thought about money. Instead of asking, "What can I afford this week?" she asked, "What does money mean to me?" This is key. Most Australians aren't broke because of a lack of income. They're stuck because of a broken relationship with money. We spend to relieve stress. We upgrade phones to feel in control. We chase lifestyle inflation because it feels like momentum. But all of it is noise. Here's a simple challenge for you. For the next 7 days, write down everything you spend, every cent. At the end of the week, highlight every item you could have done without. You'll be shocked, not because you wasted money, but because you didn't even realize it. This exercise triggers something psychologists call cognitive diffusion, separating your emotions from your actions. Once you see money for what it is, a tool, not a source, of status or identity, so everything changes. Emma cut her spending by $140 a week without feeling like she was sacrificing. Why? Because she redefined her financial values. Security, freedom, time, not stuff. And that mindset became her armor against inflation. Strategy 2. Invest like an Aussie, not like Wall Street, aka build wealth on your own backyard. Rules. Nguyen, the electrician from Melbourne we met earlier, had every excuse not to invest. He had kids, a mortgage, stress, and barely any time. But what he did have was this insight. Waiting for the perfect time is the enemy of financial freedom. Instead of chasing stock tips or watching crypto YouTubers, he automated a weekly investment of $150 into a low-cost ETF, specifically the VAS, Vanguard Australian Shares Index Fund. Why VAS? It tracks the ASX 300, giving him exposure to Australia's biggest companies: BHP, Commonwealth Bank, Woolworths, CSL. Over 10 years, even with ups and downs, Nguyen is on track to accumulate over $115,000, assuming a conservative 6% annual return. That's money working while he sleeps, surfs with his kids, or barbecues on a Sunday. And here's the real kicker. He started with just $50 challenge for you. Open a micro-investment app today, Spaceship, Rise, or ComSec Pocket. Set a recurring deposit even if it's only $10 a week. Track it for 30 days. Watch how your behavior shifts just by knowing you're an investor. Investing is no longer just for finance bros or retirees. It's for every Aussie who's tired of falling behind. And yes, it can feel intimidating, but you don't need a degree. You need a plan, consistency, and time. Strategy 3. Unlock cash flow with Aussie side hustles, aka fight inflation with extra income, not just cutting costs. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You can only cut so much. You can cancel Netflix, eat fewer Avo toasts, ride your bike more, but that won't make you rich. You need to expand your income. That's where side hustles come in, but not the TikTok guru kind. We're talking Aussie practical, boots on the ground, realistic options. Emma, the Bondi barista, started offering weekend dog walking in Coogee. She earns $120 a week doing something she enjoys. Plus, it gets her outdoors. Nguyen, he tutors electrical apprentices online for 40 hours. Just 2 hours a week nets him an extra $320 a month. Other examples, you can start with zero cost, rent out your car or tools on apps like Car Next Door or Toolmates, freelance on Airtasker, deliveries, handyman gigs, writing, translations. Sell digital templates or Aussie travel guides on Etsy. Start a YouTube channel sharing your trade, savings journey, or cooking on a budget. You don't need to quit your job. Just start with 1 hour a week. Over time, it compounds, just like money in the market. Ask yourself this: what skill do you already have that others would pay for? What hobby drains your time? That could pay for itself. We're not trying to become millionaires overnight. We're building a resilient lifestyle, one where inflation becomes just another wave, not a tsunami. Let's take a breath. You've just learned 3 foundational moves. Rewire how you think about money. Start investing, early, often, and simply. Add income streams that work with your lifestyle. These aren't hacks, they're habits. They don't promise fireworks, they promise momentum. And in a world of rising prices, stagnant wages, and economic anxiety, momentum is your greatest weapon. In the next chapter, we'll zoom out and build your long-term wealth plan. Because beating inflation today is great, but creating peace of mind for decades, that's the real win. Let's imagine something for a moment. It's a warm morning on the Gold Coast. You've just brewed your coffee, not rushing to beat traffic, not worried about bills. You check your account and smile. There's money there. Not because you got lucky, not because you won the lotto, but because you had a plan. Because 5 years ago, you watched a video like this and you decided, I'm going to play the long game. That vision? It's not fiction. It's a roadmap. And you're about to get the blueprint. The truth is, most Australians underestimate how much they need to retire comfortably. According to the Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia, ASFA, a single person needs around $595,000 in superannuation to maintain a modest lifestyle in retirement. A couple? Closer to $690,000. And that's without luxuries. That's just to live without fear. Yet the average super balance for Australians aged 50-54 is just under $200,000. So what does that tell us? That most of us are behind. And that time, not money, is the real asset we need to protect. The retirement triangle: superannuation, cash flow, and assets. Let's break down the 3 pillars that make retirement realistic in today's Australia. Superannuation. Your super isn't just a boring line on your payslip. It's your future. Optimizing your super means checking your fund's fees. Anything above 1% per annum is eating your future earnings. Adjusting your asset allocation. Are you too conservative for your age? Making voluntary contributions, especially if you're self-employed or earning more during peak career years. Remember Nguyen, the electrician? He increased his super contributions by just 3%, and over 15 years, that adds nearly $95,000 to his retirement pool, all tax-effective. Cash flow streams. You don't retire on net worth, you retire on cash flow. That means dividend paying. Stocks like Telstra, CBA, BHP. Rental income. Even one modest property in regional Ness dollars or Queensland can pay $400 plus per week. Digital income, ebooks, online courses, or affiliate websites generating revenue even while you sleep. Emma, the Bondi barista, she started a humble food blog during lockdowns. It now brings in $350 a month through affiliate links. It's not massive, but it's automatic. Growth assets. Long-term wealth is built on assets that grow faster than inflation. That includes ETFs, Australian shares, commercial property, selected cryptocurrencies, with caution and education. Aussies often overinvest in property and ignore the stock market. But remember, diversification is your seatbelt in a volatile world. Future-proofing. Your finances, inflation isn't a one-off event. It's part of the economic landscape. Your job isn't to avoid it. It's to build systems that adapt to it. Here's how. Budget for the future price, not today's. If petrol is $2.20 today, assume $2.60. when planning 5 years ahead. Invest in skills, whether it's AI, design, trades, or teaching. The more valuable you are, the more inflation-proof your income becomes. Automate your savings and investments. Set it and forget it. Remove emotion from the equation. And most of all, check in with your financial goals every 90 days. Are you ahead, behind, stuck? Clarity is power. Millionaire mindset, the Aussie way. This isn't about yachts or Lamborghinis. It's about freedom, options, and impact. Let's define the millionaire mindset through 5 Aussie truths. They plan decades, not weekends. Wealthy Aussies don't ask, "What's for Friday night?" They ask, "Where will this decision take me in 2035? They use money to buy time. Emma now outsources cleaning once a month. It gives her 4 hours back, time she uses to build her blog, connect with friends, or rest. They talk about money. Nguyen sits with his wife every fortnight and checks their numbers. Not as a chore, as a ritual, as a team. They say no more than yes. No to impulse upgrades. No to trends. Yes to long-term peace of mind. They visualize their future like athletes prepping for gold. If you can't see it, you won't build it. Challenge number 3, future snapshot. Take 15 minutes tonight. Imagine it's April 16th, 2035. You're 10 years older. Where do you live? What time do you wake up? How much is in your bank account? How do you earn income? And how much do you need to work? Who do you spend time with? How do you feel about money? Write it down. That's your target, not just a fantasy, a GPS. For every decision from this point forward, Australia is a lucky country. But it doesn't reward passivity. It rewards clarity, consistency, and courage. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay in the game long enough to let time and discipline do the heavy lifting. And guess what? You've already taken the hardest step, starting. In the final part of this journey, we're going to bring it all together. The lessons, the emotions, the blueprint. And we'll close with a metaphor that will stay with you long after the video ends. A symbol that wealth isn't just numbers on a screen. It's the life you build with purpose. Let's take a step back. In the past hour, you've heard stories from people just like you. Emma, Nguyen, Australians from Bondi to Brisbane, Toowoomba to Perth, each facing the same storm: inflation, rising costs, uncertainty. But through all the stress, frustration, and tough decisions, you've also seen something else. Hope. Not blind hope, not wishful thinking, but real, practical, actionable hope. The kind that's earned through awareness, resilience, and small but consistent steps. You've learned that money isn't just a number. It's a story, a reflection of how we think, what we prioritize, and how we show up in the world. And when prices go up, the real question isn't, how much did this cost? It's, what is this moment asking of me? Maybe it's asking you to reflect, to pause before the next tap of your debit card. Maybe it's asking you to act, to open that investing account, tweak your super settings, or finally start that side project you've been putting off. Maybe it's asking you to lead, to talk about money openly with your family, your mates, your team. Because here's the truth. Australia doesn't need more complaints about inflation. It needs more people who take control of their financial narrative. You've got the tools now. Let's recap. You rewired your money mindset. You learned to invest, not speculate. You built extra income through Aussie-flavored side hustles. You planted seeds for a future of freedom with super, cash flow, and clarity. You've stepped into the mindset of someone who doesn't just survive, but builds. And here's the final truth most people won't tell you. Wealth is boring. It's not flashy. It's not about trading crypto at midnight or flipping 6 Airbnbs at once. It's about decisions. Quiet, steady, intentional decisions. repeated thousands of times over the years. It's discipline, not drama. And when you honor that process, something magical happens. One day, without warning, you'll look around and realize you're not panicking at Woolies anymore. You're not staying up at night refreshing your bank app. You're not chasing. You're choosing. That's what financial independence looks like. Not yachts or jets, but peace. Let me leave you with this image. Picture yourself on a vast trail deep in the Aussie outback. The path is rocky. The sun is harsh. There are no signs telling you exactly what to do. But you keep moving, step after step. Maybe you stumble. Maybe you slow down. But you don't stop. And every now and then, you look back. And you're stunned by how far you've come. That's your financial journey. You won't always see the results straight away. You won't always feel like you're winning. But every step you take, budgeting, learning, investing, saying no when it matters, is carving a path. A path that leads not just to more money, but to more meaning. You are the architect of your future, and this economy, no matter how wild, can't take that away from you. Final challenge: the 7-day financial reset. Here's how you make this more than just a video. For the next 7 days, track every dollar you spend. No judgment, just awareness. Save or invest at least $10 into your super, an ETF, or a side hustle. Share one money conversation with someone close to you, partner, friend, or parent. Comment below this video with the first step you're taking. Declare it, name it, own it. Your comment might inspire someone else to begin. And together, we're not just changing budgets, we're changing lives. If this video helped you think differently, if it made you feel more empowered, more equipped, or just less alone, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want. More deep dive content on how to build wealth the Aussie way. No fluff, no hype, just clarity. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who feels like they're drowning in rising costs. You never know the impact that one video could have. We are building a movement here of informed, strategic, independent thinkers, of people who surf the waves of inflation and come out stronger on the other side, of Australians who look the system in the eye and say, I may not control the economy, but I control my next move. And now, it's your turn. Comment below. What's the first action you'll take to build financial freedom in 2025?